see how that will go, because first of all, Jamie's gonna hear that. Jamie's gonna see his teammate die. Demasik falls already. Now Krisen as well as Buster be the defender of that side. Krisen has not been spotted yet, and that's getting a little tricky. Buster is just burning away. That could be Krisen finding more. He gets himself Stewie as well. Now he needs to find Bolt, and there's the assistance arriving with James. Krisen on the triple. His position not checked. That's fatal for SK Gaming as they fall down with an aggression that looked quite perfect. So the buy very mixed for SK. Double scout setup is not the most usual thing to see. As most of the time you would expect majorly the pistol comes out of this. There they go, one Squeaky. Fallen, who yesterday didn't perform 100%. And when we know when he has an AWP in hand and he has a good day, that he cannot be stopped, that there's no way to slam those Brazilian breaks. Will that be the case? That one. Well, actually, we'll see. SK Gaming not doing the mistakes they have just done in round number 1, where a simple corner wasn't checked and he's suddenly falling down due to that reason. Squeaky open it up, trying to find anyone who wants to run into his crosshair. Kicker as well as Demasik are not really interested in going close to Squeaky, but we see AVANGAR already shifts over. Krisen stands behind the A side truck. Also Jamie having a fairly fast way to assist on the A side. Let's see if Fallen rips off ahead. Nearly does. Krisen is a little bit more cautious right now as he doesn't want that anyone takes down his head. And there goes that shot there from Fallen. Makes it work with the kicker. Fur doesn't see a thing, but still finds Krisen there. And so that means Demasik, who's now tech down to 27, fully blind to find a few. Stewie's not into it. The Glock does it. And that means an MP9 as well as a James with just the FAMAS doing it. But the head... Fur is right now a brain surgeon, and if you have any problem with it, sure, he's going to remove the pain that is laying there on the top. Beautifully done here, 2 headshots, he got himself with that deagle. And that A site cracked open well, brought the bomb down for surviving. That gives you a good advantage, as well as the M4 being picked by Stewie. That's the kind of thing you want to see, definitely. And this X-ray control is killing me. Okay, thank you. By the way, I need to give a shout out to the guys at RuHub for doing really good cast work. Probably to also cast great in Russian, but I don't speak Russian. That is the problem. No, they do observe quite well. So whoever's observing there, spasiba. That's, I think, the right way to say it. Either way, AVANGAR with that kind of buy, forcing through to make the ZZs, the Deagle and the FAMAS work in the end. The gun that has been brought through by the Russian. See a thing for the moment. He wants to help his teammate go up Shroud. Hold that angle. But SK not too much presence they're showing. Grenade that worked onto Demasik, and now mid control is what they want to establish. Waiting for the flashbang. Stu together with Fur. Waiting for the right timing to make a move on mid, which is fairly open by AVANGAR, as the guns they have don't allow them really to take any long-range duels with multiple opponents coming from left, right, and center. Mid taken, the smoke there, the split seems to happen. As we see already, Bolts is moving there through the most traditional path to the B site, free in front of vents. The head from Kultura could have been seen there, but they're already down in the vent room. Demasik is on his own, and he's the lone survivor who might be lost in that. Double smoke onto CT, surely not intended. Demasik finding the hatchet onto Stu, Fallen though taking Buster, and Demasik is now exposed and known. Does he find himself anything more than that though? He does find himself Fur. It's a little bit of a problematic in this situation, because then there comes Zero, comes from the site. Kicker, he makes steps, and I'm fairly sure The opponent heard it. Cold0 nearly found. Down to 10 HP. 3 frags he found himself. Jamie shouldn't have too much of a problem spraying some FAMAS bullets in that Brazilian's chest. He can just evade it. The evasion, lucky enough, not die there in the process. Jamie rather waits, and I think he's not even interested in retaking this. No kit. A smoke would be there. There's the first one to go. Bolts takes him out either way. And that just means the 1-2-1 turns around. A bomb being planted. AVANGAR on the eco. And SK is gaining dollar after dollar after dollar. Making those wallets just fatter and fatter. As Krisen and Co. can barely do anything with that. Demastic at least gets a bit of information with one player in middle. And there they come. Buster finds himself the 1-2. He has removed the silencer from his gun for sways him down bit by bit. At least the American has been found. That hurts the economy a slight, tiny bit. Not too much, obviously. As they're going for the AVANGAR, with that kind of buy. Minimum utility, basically. We see a smoke 4 times. No Molotov. No HE. No kit as well. It seems like James has to do a major difference in that one. As yesterday, the game, just stats-wise, we have to point that out. One guy was just ham yesterday, and it was Cold0 as usual. The one with the best rating. Besides Fallen, the only one with a positive frag ratio. Buster, no chance. The flames were eating him up. Cold0 takes him down there in the end. Once more, it's only Krisen on the site. Uncomfortable situation, you have to say. That uncomfortable situation. I'm gonna give Kicker kind of idea to find Fur. Does so, rotates rather away, but Stewie, as silent as he is, can come from the site, flank Krisen where he didn't expect it. That B site now in favor and in the hands of SK Gaming, as they shouldn't have too much of a problem now making the move directly on the site. They still have a smoke. Balls could throw them down onto CT. He does exactly that. Kicker has a little tiny gap there. He could have used that fairly well, but can't do it onto Fallen. That bomb's going down either way. Makes the move onto Stewie, but he can't take down Mr. Jake Yip so simply. Jame and Dima as the only 2 alive, going back into CT spawn, hiding, squatting in the corner behind the van, as you don't want to be caught out with an AWP as well as an M4. James still with a fairly aggressive angle. Can take down Fallen. Now they know where the AWP is, and Stewie is interested. Saying, sup, how you're doing? But he gets denied. Head ripped off. James even through the box, not having a problem with that. So next up, next contestant for this is going to be Cold0. He has good chances of doing so. But he can't find anyone. James hides himself behind the van finally. That will be the 4-1. AVANGAR spy is far away from beautiful. And we see 3k in average on the ones who have died. Kicker at Krisen as well as Buster. Probably going for body armor as well as something like a P250 ZZ. According those lines. And I mean, when we take a look at it right now, losing bonus is getting massive. They could get themselves even a Deagle and armor. The Brazilians, they're showing us what they're made of. Cash yesterday looked a little bit more shaky, if you ask me. As the pause is there being cancelled. Krisen going down to 1.5. Same goes for Kicker and Buster on that Deagle. So let's see what that mixture can do as we majorly have pistols on the defending site. James as well as Kicker going down to the B site. The bomb is not making a major move towards any position yet. Stewie finds himself. Krisen probably sees a bit off the body right here. And Stewie, the reaction time from Demastic was fairly slow right here, so he can't react to it in time, though. Fur might peek out wide. Kicker it with the Deagles. Interested in Brazilian heads, and he finds that one onto Fur. Man, disadvantage for SK. Just after the first 25 seconds. But far away from lost the team is. As we see only 2 pistols and only 2 rifles are back there onto AVANGAR. Not a kit. Having as well. Demasik holds the angle. Onto Haven, and Buster has to move away. Tries to find himself some shots on the head of any of the players. No chance though. There comes the aim punch. Balls takes him down easily. Up on Haven. Should have been seen right here. I'm not quite sure. Kicker now taken out. Demasik pretty much on his own. Oh, can't find himself coldzera. That was the shot he needed to do. As the Brazilian didn't even look in his direction. James now finds himself bolt, but can not really imagine. I don't know if the money he has, he could dare to do it. And it seems like that's going to be the case. On the top of the scoreboard. The mainly Kazakh site. But once he drops, Fallen might mutate to a bad Fallen. Maybe not interested in it, not gonna go for it. Looks on the ground. Nice metal. A little of a bullet hole. A corpse. Everything in very, very accurate description right here. But he hides himself, of course. Doesn't want to get caught out by coldzera or Fall in that situation, as he can't be spotted there. And thankfully for himself, doesn't go in the direction of coldzera, because he might would have had the opportunity to rip his head off. 5-1, and SK Gaming 3 rounds away from success during the first half already. Fur actually getting a lot of damage here from that. I'm surprised that that was the case here. Either way, that worked out. So we got ourselves quite wounded player. A double op set him onto AVANGAR. Mainly focusing onto that A side, and they're already rotating off. In mid, no one stands close by to hear those main steps. So by default, James has to do it. Whilst it is happening, Buster finds coldzera. 1 player less, the bomb rotating over to the B site. That's fast movement here from Stewie together with Fur. As both want to go full throttle in that aggression. Krisen finds at the same time bolts. The B side still with 2. The ops are making it work right now. And James, that shot should have been yours. There it works there in the end. Only Fur alive, and we have the second one pretty surely for AVANGAR, except Fur has some kind of killing formula to take out 4. Hard to imagine, trapped in the corner, kicker coming from the other direction. As tension fades to the other side, 2-5 is there for AVANGAR. Double op worked. The shots were there on point, M4 being dropped. And that in total means that the economy of AVANGAR is actually quite okay for the moment. With the amount of players surviving, you logically can make it work. And as that 5-2 is the case, what would be great though for SK Gaming at that point would be to pretty much reset kicker to go. You have the opportunity. It's not like it's impossible. It's not like they're weaponry rise on a different level than AVANGAR is. And as we see, that's painful. Kicker taken out by Stewie's shots that are coming through the door. Smoke on highway, and you easily got yourself that A site secured. They're rather nuts. Keep James only one on the A site. Middle of Demasik defense. And the aggression from Buster pays off with 1. But there they go towards the middle positioning for a moment. They don't seem to be interested in much more. Rotation over goes to Squeaky and Main with probably an A split happening. Krisen though getting coldzera in the process. That's a Fur not finding his counterparts. Major damage being dealt, but over highway, Fur does not find the frag onto James. That makes it a little bit uncomfortable. The stab should now have been heard. Fallen finds himself James there for some reason. Demasik on his own. He's back on the site, and Stewie with those shots! He's a smoke criminal, but this time he's not moving through the smokes, he shoots through them. And suddenly he finds the only hope back on the A site. 4 HP onto Crizzen, 100 onto Buster. That retake just got a hell lot of tougher at that point. As they both have a kid in the smoke. The 100 HP player is carrying around that AWP, and the shots need to be accurate right now. They need to find what they're looking for. Stu rotates around, and the smoke right now onto Buster could help. Fallen has only the AWP, otherwise he needs to make it work with that Glock. Fallen, do you do it? That's the wrong angle. He doesn't find himself that one. So AVANGAR on the third with such a tight one. Stewie played a major role in that round, but they couldn't close the case. And that just means once more an investment coming in from SK that's bringing them down to bankruptcy pretty much. As Buster then finds the first touch of Stu, we might start getting ourselves the way onto the tie. Crizzen also kind of woken up. Buster though taken out, but not too relevant at that point in time. And if you remember, just giving you that, 5-1 it was for AVANGAR, excuse me, for SK. That's uncomfortable right now. Kicker getting taken out like this. 3 versus 3, it still is. Coldzera. Wrong direction, you're looking by default. Coldzera gets taken out first, O2 react. He also knows what to do, and now Bolts. The Axe Immortals player is the only one to do anything about it. Moving over to the A site whilst no one is defending it. Crizzen stays back on B. James hopes to find something towards the middle. Very patient, Bolts is. It is planned to go for CT towards the B site. I mean, time-wise, it will just get very, very uncomfortable. But I think no one of AVANGAR is having that on the radar. He rather plays it safe, brings that bomb down towards A. And I think at that point, rotation from any of the players would be worth it. He plants that for short. A peek from James. On the right time. Crizzen needs to be aware. Just a matter of seconds until he sees him. Crizzen takes him out. No chance for Bolts. The try was nice. But he didn't go for that main plant, interestingly enough. Not directly, at least not the most open angle to say it like that. James like, where is that AK? Crizzen, come on, I'm not here to play around with that bomb the entire day. Crizzen doesn't want to go for the AK. Okay. No idea why he delayed it though. So the M4A4 stays in place in the hands of Crizzen. AVANGAR on the 4th. One plant after another is happening. With that being said, take a look at the buy from SK. Far away from satisfying. Boltzkov gets himself on the AK. Molotov just speaks for an A-side aggression to rule out every single position, as now the majority of them have been thrown away. Flashbang is there. James doesn't see a thing. Kicker has to be aware as the flames are coming down onto his teammates. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. With Fallen, though, finding a beautiful shot onto Kicker. He has the kind of idea. Did he just hit Jamie? Did he just get him free HP? No, it was the flame. That's my bad. Either way, frag found. 5-5. Tie secured. AVANGAR from a 5-1 recovering. And putting SK at their place. This is the pick of the Brazilian lads. Just putting that right here. We're still in round number 11, so it's all possible. As the AKs are back on the board, to really put you updated, this is a big investment for them. Down to pretty much 0 they are. On the other hand, the problem is, though, the losing bonus is quite big. So for AVANGAR, they will not see a fully shattered SK in the follow-up round, in case they're taking this, of course. There to go for Vent. That splits towards B has been established. Buster in a very uncomfortable position, can still run away. And Crimson does his job onto one, but not much more than that. Body shot away from dying. Yob at least gets Coldzera. And that now needs to be the bomb retrieved. That nade goes deep. Barely does damage. The Molotov doesn't hold it off from bolts. Doesn't get close enough. The flames not doing its job that well. At least SK Fur has been found. That means falling through the smoke. He's the first. Kickert wants to move through. But no chance about that. James as well as Demasic. Oh, he just jumps down. He probably has been hurt. Fallen needs to find him right now. They do it together. That means the op hungry enough to do it. Doesn't seem to be the case. James running away, and SK Gaming cannot find themselves the opper, but at least the round number 6. AVANGAR's economy is okay. They are able to rebuy, but at that point in time, it will get a little bit more trickier after that one. Technically speaking, SK has still the opportunity to go into double digits with a double op setup and quite well gained utility. That shouldn't be the case. And James, with that information, yeah, that's perfectly done. Take a look at it. This is going to be Kickert getting a lot of support from the teammates as James has gained so much information in that. It was surely a big risk, especially with an AWP to do so. On the other hand, though, that gives you a good advantage. Further, finds himself Kickert as the flash worked out perfectly. Demasic can only react onto Fallen. Here's the op from Buster doing a good job. 2 AWPs left, not the best thing to really have with you. You want to retake such a close range sight. Oh, Buster, though, that shot was brutal. Finding Stewie. Behind the forklift, there's still a Fur hiding. He's already on 3 fracks. If he wants to defend the bomb, he probably needs to do an ace. He goes up onto Catwalk and waits it out on short. Oh, James sees him! And there he falls brutally on the hay bales. That means 6-6 is there. Fur nearly had the right timing, but it was not enough. As the defuse comes in, we're back to a tie with it. And SK Gaming's money. It's okay. I mean, you can work with that dollars, but not too great. Buster might be the one to hold up that aggression, to push him back and say, no entrance on the B side. You need to be cool for that. That's the first one into Stewie, and that kind of needs to be Crimson doing the job. A good spray transfer back on the Fur. It should be only Coldzera to take out. Flawless, they do it. 7-6. SK Gaming can't find a frag, can't find an entry ticket on the B side here. So AVANGAR technically have the opportunity for a 9-6. Though, with the aggression there onto Crimson, that makes it work. Mystic with the refract, that was quite fast. In the first 15 seconds, losing 2 players on the server. It's always a bit of a surprise, but that aggression seemed to be necessary. Molotov goes deep. Bolt gets his head ripped off there by Demasic. The Molotov didn't do a good job here for Coldzera in the end. He's down to 18. Should be taken out by Kickert in a second. Stabs have been heard. Coldzera rather hides, and there he finds the frag. On to the Brazilian legend. The number 1, as some say. And as there now, Stewie is the only one alive. He has 60 seconds. He's behind enemy lines. That's all great, but doesn't have the bomb. So, with that being said, that doesn't work out. Stewie silently sneaks around the map. Make a noise. Surely heard Buster right here. when he could hit Kickert if he gets the right angle onto this. I'm not quite sure how exposed right now the Kazakhstan player is. Finds himself Buster. That's a beautiful shot. And now Kickert on his own. To clutch it against Stewie. Hides in the corner. Saw the head. Molotov not going to be popped. Oh, and that was your shot, Stewie. But he can't make it work. 8-6 is there. Kickert, he's cool. And cool enough to take down the American in this. 8-6 and SK Gaming. They might just see their opponent finding themselves a really decent half in that. The thing about this map, though, the thing about Cash, and that has to be mentioned, is that SK is pretty much 50-50 regarding this, whilst AVANGAR is 10 percentage points better on the T sites. Yesterday we had the statistics not helping us out either, so saying that might be unnecessary on the one hand, but on the other, it gives you a kind of direction. So AVANGAR on the T site, that could work out fairly well. But right now, needs to work out on the T site are those ZZs for SK. As the nade goes deep onto Kicker. Does a bit of damage, not too much. Good fight, Cold0 does so as he burns away and together in the work with Demasik. 4 versus 5. Ball needs to get down and very uncoordinated movement. Everyone blocking each other there on the A site. No one flanking, all focused on just keeping that C4 secure. Stewie's not interested in a boost by Fallen. Could get a little bit too dangerous, could get a little bit too hairy. Bolts though takes out Demasik, who's having the wrong kind of timing. Buster should find him. That was the option, not 100% accurate on the point it should be. And they're taking time. This is very much not going in favor of the lads of AVANGAR time-wise right now. Kickert is having a problem because his teammate dies on the site. But what is happening? No, this is the pistol. Kickert, he can't die like this. He finds him. Oh, Fallen, a single body shot would have done it. But AVANGAR, the last few rounds are so tight, and Kickert rules it out so often. My god, is this intense. And this is the start of the best of 5 series. If it couldn't have been closer, if there was any kind of closer end to a first half, I don't remember any so far. That was just insane, intense, amazing, and in the end, there it works out. A few whiffed op shots that came in from AVANGAR, but they still made it work. And SK now need to show us what they can do on the CT side. Hold up AVANGAR as early as you can, because otherwise you might fall short earlier than you would like to. That was a flashbang working and a Buster taken out. Stewie finds Crimson as well. Stewie's right now on some good shots. That one's more is down to James. It's a nice Deagle, excuse me, a Deagle, a Glock headshot, of course, onto Fur. Ball positioning is good. He gets taken out as well. Falls down in front of the feet of Cold0. Oh, and I think he baited him. I'm not quite sure if Cold0 heard that. I'm not 100% certain. Number 1 actually realized that there was noise going back from A main towards Squeaky. There's a kid on site, if I'm not seeing it wrong. There it is. So no big pressure onto Cold0. He just needs to find the frag. Whilst on the other hand, James needs the perfect awareness. Does he have that perfect awareness? Does he check the right corner at the right time? Will it be Cold0 actually landing the USPS headshot? And I think he could have saw him here. He finds it, and James is ruling it out on his own. The defense was beautiful from Stewie. Same goes for further in the end, but on his own, the only Russian on the server, he cleans it out and takes them all from the A site away. Perfectly done, AVANGAR on number 10, and that thanks to the performance of the Russian right here. And with that being said, it looks good right now for AVANGAR. Not even their map pick is something we have to put out here. SK Gaming decided to play Cash. As SK Gaming decided to do so. Next one's not going to be more comfortable for them. First of all, the Buster on low HP. Oh, this is the same we had it with Prison on the previous one, but there Coldzera only finds one. Instead of keeping his trigger not so pulled so early, Stewie runs away from the action. Can't somehow do that. So, 19 and 100 HP to somehow do the job. He doesn't get it at all, and so Fur with the Deagle. Beautiful shot onto Demasik. Opens it up. But can he close it in his favor? That seems to be kind of impossible. James is not interested in any of that Brazilian action. 11-6. And the gate to the 12-6 is fairly open. You just need to walk through it, you know? There's no Hodor blocking it. Nope, right now, it's a fairly open gate. As the wall has not been brought down yet entirely, but the ice is melting. And all of you Game of Thrones fans, hope you understood it. With that being said, 1:30 left on the clock, and SK Gaming have Coldzera hidden there in the middle of it. Probably doesn't make it work in the end. Around the map, they're separating each other. SK Gaming have a little bit of a problem with a few opponents coming right now at you in a second. Prison clears up the B sites. The question is, do they now get themselves the right rotation in this? Can they hold them up before that even happens? As it'll happen, so the MAC-10s are successful enough. Prison can find himself a Stewie, surprisingly. Buster on the double, 12-6. The double amount of rounds are right now there for AVANGAR. And some say no Taco, no Coldzera at peak performance. Yesterday, talking to Swanee, he said Taco is a seriously good teammate, someone you can't replace that easily, because he doesn't care about his stats. Taco is someone who just cares about the team winning. Therefore, he opens up opportunities which Coldzera then can use, for example. I find that a very nice thing to say, the way he puts it. That being said, Buster now knows where Stewie is. No player for Vent possibly coming through. It gets a little bit tricky right now. Stewie wants to take the aggression, and there he becomes what he's known for. Maybe a smoke criminal? Not this time, at least. As the entry on bolts worked, and as the mid control might just now work, it's fallen as well. It does. The Brazilian taken out. SK. They give AVANGAR the opportunity to take the number 13 right now. They had a great fighting spirit against Gambit already. When it looked down, they were still showing that there's no second to even dare to give up. Stewie right now find himself Demasik, and that's an important frag. Fur now needs to be taken out as well. Can that B site, excuse me, the A site still be maintained? Fur does his best with that. But back on the side of Coldzera Heights, from behind the Stewie is there, and Buster. Can he bust them is the question. Coldzera knows. From the side, Buster now comes. Stewie takes him out. 12-7. 5 versus 3 doesn't turn out in favor of AVANGAR. And that's a great start. Finally getting yourself into this. As AVANGAR, their initial situation during half number 2 was a 9-6. That 9-6 turned into 12-6. Now 12-6, you can't predetermine it yet, but it usually speaks for itself. At 12-6 so far. Goes in a good direction. Time passes. No entry found by AVANGAR yet. Should be known, by the way, as they were shooting there towards Shroud. As we see it, time's taken away. AVANGAR's preparing themselves for that A side control. Fur taken out. Number 1 found. Bolt's back on the side. He throws the bolt off right kind of way, but that's gonna fade just a second. And there's no smoke on the side. Kicker finds bolts. Fallen on the budget op right there. That's a bit of a problem. Koldura's there to help, but Buster, the head surgeon clinic has opened. The Kazakhstan player, he does a few free trial operations. Having a bit of a problem taking on Fallen in that one. Kicker now needs to do it. Stewie gets that so. Oh, and only 5 HP he has left. Kicker, do it smart. He has a kit. He finds him though. Fallen with 24 HP. Needed a single bullet onto the Kazakhstan player. It didn't make it work, and 13-7 is there with SK forcing through as it seems to be. The economic situation, it goes horribly right now for the Brazilian team. A spiral of economic drought they're pretty much set right now. As Fur gets taken out by Dimasik, you have to see right there in the next round, besides Koldura, there will be pretty much no great economy on the side of SK. They got reset there in the previous rounds. They are having nothing on the board, and their guns right now are not the best ones either way. So saving up will not be the best of an idea. Going for frags would be great, but so far that didn't work with Fur. If the rest can do a change, that's a different story, but it's hard to imagine that will be the case. Can AVANGAR do it again? Started off yesterday with a 16-3 against the Polish powerhouse, the veterans of Virtus Pro. Are they able to take down SK on their own map pick? I would be surprised. Honestly, would be surprised, but it looks like that for the moment. Bolt's now moving out, finds a beautiful headshot onto Dimasik, turns around and finds himself Jame as well. 2 necessary frags, opening up opportunities. Buster coming in from behind with 1, but not with 2. That was Fallen, who didn't fall in the end. And that was the worst situation you can be in. Kicker on his own. Can't find himself Bolts. Can't find himself Fallen. And that just means a cold 0 to get. And he baits him. He knows Koldura is not defusing. He's aware that the Brazilian has no chance of doing it. Kicker with the triple. Clutching it out all on his own. And so it's gotta be SK once more giving a round to the opponent. As it wasn't enough, it is not possible for SK to play by their gamebook. Just finish it off. Sinister on map number 1. Is that portentous for map number 2? I want to remind you, talking to SK's analyst, Swanee, previously, he said, the team is doing good progress, but on the other hand, Mirage is not just our thing anymore. Whilst, on the other hand, Mirage is like the thing for AVANGAR. Fractal found by Stewie. The AK in the hand of the American. Might make that work. There's no supporter behind him. Flanking him would be an option. That's a good positioning from Stewie. That's just great to see. Kind of approach he takes to this. Here's Bolts. Jame, very, very, very cautious. Stewie now taken out at least. That's the movement opened up to the B side as they only positioned Stewie there to do it on his own. He had the AK in his hand there. Could be Koldura finding one. Dimasik is an easy target. We're standing quite well there. Can't do anything due to the smoke wall. Kicker is through. The Molotov blocks the movement. That bomb needs to go down, but take a look at the HP of AVANGAR. That's far away from nice. And the ZZ, the Deagle, they can all make it work with that kind of HP situation to be there, but the health is still okay. Re-smoke gonna happen. That bomb is ticking away. And it seems like Koldura's gonna keep that gun. 15-7 and a FAMAS onto Cold. Scout onto Fallen. And take a look. The investment they've made, that's not allowing them to buy anything great in the upcoming one, and then it will be a 15-7. AVANGAR just a bit away from taking the first map. And remember yesterday against Gambit, this map was way more tighter. I mean, Cash ended 16-14 for the team of Doja yesterday. 16-14. And it seems AVANGAR are doing that kind of with ease here. It's hard to imagine, to be real, that with the circumstances they're back on, well, Mirage, that this will be a 2-0, possibly. Maybe, for AVANGAR. It's Buster and Co. Got a little bit of a grenade there. That's nothing really Buster likes. Same for Chris, down to 28 he is. Two quite well wounded players. But there it comes, and there the fire starts. James with the first one onto Fur. Bolt still hides himself, casually taken out here. Kicker doesn't stop, and only two more men. Put it down to one. Forget about it. Only Stewie. An MP9 and a dream right now for the American. Can he clutch this out? No chance. 16-7. AVANGAR taking out SK on their own map pick, and that is just as